A certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and Martha. Now, Mary was the one who anointed the Lord's feet with perfume, and she wiped them with her hair. And her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent word to Jesus to inform him that his friend, whom he loved, was ill. And when Jesus heard it, he said, well, this illness does not lead to death, but it is for the purpose of God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. And so although Jesus loved Mary and Martha and Lazarus, when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. And then after this, he said to his disciples, we've got to go back to Judea. And his disciples answered, why? I mean, we were just there, and the Jews were trying to stone you, and now you want to go back? And Jesus answered them, saying, are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk by day do not stumble, because they see the light of this world. But those who walk by night do stumble, because the light is not in them. And then he told them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, and I must go to awaken him. Now, Jesus was speaking about Lazarus' death, but his disciples simply assumed that he was talking about sleep. So Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus is dead. And for your sake, I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. So let's go. We gotta go. We have to go to Lazarus. And Thomas, also called the twin, said to his disciples, well, let us also go, that we may die with him. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had been dead in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany is near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away. And of course, many of the Jews were with Mary and Martha, consoling them about their brother. And when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, leaving Mary at home. And when Martha spoke with Jesus, she said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him. And Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And Martha answered, saying, well, yes, of course, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection, and I am life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, shall live. And anyone who lives and believes in me shall not die forever. Do you believe this? And Martha said, yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world. Then after this, Martha returned to her sister Mary, and she told her sister privately, the teacher is here, and he is calling for you. Well, when Mary heard it, she ran out. But now, see, Jesus had not yet come into the village, but remained in the place where he had met with Mary. So when Mary ran out of her house, the Jews who were with her, consoling her, ran after her because they thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. And when Mary found Jesus, she knelt at his feet. She cried, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who were with her also weeping, he said to them, where have you laid him? And they said, Lord, come and see. And Jesus wept. And when the people in the crowd saw him weeping, some of them said, oh, look, see how he loved him. But others said, well, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? Jesus came to the tomb. He was deeply disturbed in spirit, and he was also deeply moved. He came to the tomb, and it was a cave, and there was a stone lying up against it. And he said, take away the stone. And Martha said, oh, Lord, no. No, don't do it. Our brother Lazarus has been in that tomb for 4 days. And there is bound to be a horrendous stench. And Jesus said to her, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. And as Jesus was feeling deeply moved and troubled in spirit, he looked up. He prayed, Father, I thank you for having heard me. For I know that you always hear me, but I have said these things for the sake of these people standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me. And then Jesus, with a loud voice, cried out, Lazarus, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out. His hands and his feet were bound with strips of cloth, and his face was wrapped in a cloth. And then he said to all of those there, "Unbind him, let him go."